at you again with the Gaming Roundtable. Welcome to episode 59, ELEX. Let's talk about it, part 2. As you can see from my last video, I've actually made some progress. I have a shield, I have this chainsaw sword I got in the outlaw town of in the Tavar region. This dark hooded cow over my head, and this berserker-like hunter type armor. I'm about 6-7 hours in, and I'm really starting to, like I said, I appreciate this game a lot, and I do like the game a lot. But I also have I have a lot of problems with the game as well, and I think it's because Piranha Bytes, you know, if this game had the combat of and the speed in combat and less clankiness that I've seen in let's say Risen 3, which I really I really like Risen 3. I've got used to the combat, and I started just and to a point where became very proficient in playing playing said combat. And it's weird to me to when I play this game and how fundamentally different it is. Again, they use the R1 for quick attacks and R2 for strong attacks, and now I have a shield, which actually changed my special. I do a shield bash, which knocks people down, and with the rolling out of the way. And when I noticed this during combat, when I was playing the game and I actually rolled out of the way to the side, I realized that the roll was very heavy, kind of similar to the roll in Dark Souls 1 when you play a character with medium armor and how they roll. And I also realized the combat was really trying to emulate Dark Souls, and this was pretty much Piranha Bytes' attempt to create a game that was both very similar to their Gothic series, which was, kind of a tough game, and then to merge that concept with the Dark Souls-like combat. The difference, though, is Piranha Bytes kept their timing-based combat system, which has been something that we've seen in Risen and Gothic and their other and those games. In Arcania, it's still a timing base, but you can quickly combo. It's a very faster paced system. I wish they used Arcania's combat system, to be perfectly honest with you. But the problem is that Piranha Bytes, in doing so, there's this disconnect. So if I swing my sword, I gotta watch my combo meter essentially and wait for the last animation. As you can see, it's very slow and very methodical. And again, I think this is coming from them trying to create their version of Dark Souls, but put it in an open world Gothic kind of setting. Except there's high fantasy and high sci-fi combined, which I love. The game world, it's just really unique. Like this blown out tank here, and you look over here, it looks like something you would see out of Skyrim, and I like that. The game world itself is just beautiful. It's got some of the best lighting I've seen in the game. But this whole merging of them trying to, and I can just tell you that's what they were trying to do. Now here we go. This raptor thing here that's seen me, is going to sit back and then go for this attack. So I gotta wait. Usually I let my companion take the brunt of the damage, I guess you could say. And again, if you miss that combo, as I just missed, you pretty much get screwed. And it sucks because, you kind of have to you have to dodge and get out of the way. And one of the things I don't like, what just happened there was I got attacked, and this thing is chasing me and focused on me, so it's very difficult to get away and take this potion, which, as you can see, took about 3 or 4 seconds for him to actually finish that potion off in full. And that's kind of a shame because it takes way too long for that to happen. Food does slow regenerated health, and it's very similar to, I guess you could say, the Estus flask from Dark Souls 2, which took a lot longer to drink than Dark Souls 1. And it's kind of a messed up situation to me personally, because it's this whole this whole myriad of trying to create wanted to recreate almost like their beloved series of Gothic. And of course, you're going to want to save. You want to save literally, you want to save literally after every battle, because it's ridiculous. Because it's such a resource. Another thing that's very Dark Souls, and is especially, I didn't really realize it either. Like certain weapons and shields have requirements. Armor have requirements. You might have to have so much constitution, so much strength. Dark Souls is very much like that. Some weapons that were very big and massive, you could not at all control, unless you had the right stat at the right, you know, um, if your strength was 20 and needed a 30 to wield like a big heavy hammer in Dark Souls, you had to use your souls and use the experience gained and get that stat to 30 so you could use said weapon. This is very similar. It's almost identical in that regard. If you go and look at my weapons, for example, my chainsword required 25 strength and 25 dex. So, um, and that's kind of the way it is. And it's kind of a shame because I kind of liked. I understand why they did it, but I miss the glory system from Risen 3 and Risen 2, where you gained experience and you spent said experience. And a lot of weapons and armor didn't have so many requirements. Another thing about the game that even though I do like this game a lot, I dislike is the fact that if you run into an enemy, for example, a couple people out in the wild, like reavers, and they have weapons, and some of them have like glowing weapons that might do poison or might do electricity or something. If you kill them, they don't drop their weapons, they don't drop their armor. You just get items, and I don't understand why they went that direction either. So most of you'll never find, and what I've seen so far, I mean, there's a few places here and there in the game where you can find, a weapon out in the open. But as far as like enemies dropping the stuff, yeah, forget it. That doesn't happen. And just now, like, see what I mean? That little barrel, I'm gonna die. Yeah, I'm dead. So I gotta load the game. 3 hits killed me at level 8. I mean, it's just that barrel was there, but that's why you want to save. You want to save every time after every combat situation. Because if not, you're just gonna that little burrow there. But the problem was that little burrow also looked a little bit like a campfire was there, and so I get attacked by this giant spider thing. And this is the first area, and you will run into creatures like that. There's no way that you will beat that creature. 3-shot at me, and the only reason that I didn't die in one hit is because I have the armor and stuff I'm wearing, and it's just one of those situations where, again, they try to emulate Souls, but it doesn't have the same finesse as Souls' combat. And they kept with it because Souls doesn't have you attack in Souls, but you can continuously attack. You'll do more damage each attack. This game, you do a little bit more damage each time you attack, but with the timing based, which is what they were trying to mirror with, which is what you do in Risen and what you do in a lot of their other games, in particularly Risen, putting that combo meter, but then slowing down the combat to make it feel more weighty, which is what Souls does, but they don't have the same finesse as a Dark Souls' combat system. They don't have the same finesse as Bloodborne's faster paced combat, which is what Arcania is kind of similar to in a way. And I feel like that Piranha Bytes really needs to address this. If they ever want this game, you want to explore this huge and vast world, and this is their world. It's this massive thing, but every single creature in this little desert area at my current level, which is I'm actually level 7. I thought I was at 8, but level 7, will either 1 or 2 shot me. Every creature in this area, 1 shot you. Every creature in this area will 1 shot you. Only this first beginning area, and this area right below this area, most of the creatures will 1 or 2 shot you. You spend so much time. You got these teleporters, which is great, but you spend so much time in this really unique game world, and yet you can't. You feel like you can't explore it. Like you're going to die, and there's nothing. And you just run and run and run and run and run the location, and just to give you an example of this is early on in the game. Now I want to show you my quests that I'm doing. So these main missions. So This is a new one I found just by picking up some journal, but let's just throw this down here. So if we go to companions and you go to a handful of shards and contract or outlaw and you got to kill Leo the Brave. Leo, I can kill him in 4 hits. The problem is there are 2 Reavers, which are his bodyguards essentially that are around him that take like 20 hits to kill, and they can 2-shot you. I got this mission essentially is the third main story mission that you get, but there's no way to really complete it. When you go to fight Leo, these guys have weapons. They shoot you from range. They can kill you twice. One of them actually, it's a rifle that poisons you. It literally will kill you nearly instantly. And it's like, why would the game give me these ridiculous, give you a bunch of quests and knowing that you can't complete them? And that's essentially what this game does, and that's that whole artificially increase the difficulty thing that Piranha Bytes did because they're trying to emulate a Souls-like experience, but without the finesse and then without the fairness that Dark Souls has. Outside of that, ELEX is a really awesome game. Like I mean, a lot of people has harped on the voice acting. I'm a big fan of the first Two Worlds. This game is leaps and bounds in voice acting over Two Worlds, but I still love Two Worlds. But Two Worlds also had a fair combat system. This game's combat system is, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. I wish it was more like Risen 3's, which was faster and yes, timing based, but it was just more, it had more finesse. This uses a different engine, and again, because they were trying to emulate Souls, and that's exactly what they were trying to do, in my opinion. That's exactly what it feels like. Especially now that I have a shield, I'm like, yeah, I see where they were trying to go with this, but it does not work. They don't have they Piranha Bytes has never done anything like that before, and this game probably could use another 4 or 5 months. I mean, legitimately in the incubator. I've never came in and crossed any bugs or anything like that, and frame rate dip here or there. A lot of games feature that, but it really kind of needed. Uh, I think it really did need a little bit more time in that department, um, to to finesse the combat, make it more smoother. I'm hoping, but I don't think the game is selling all that well. I think it probably would sell well in the UK. Piranha Bytes is very much beloved in the UK. This is definitely a UK style roleplay game. Um, but I think, but there's been no word. I've looked up. There's very few videos on YouTube. A lot of videos are like people from Europe and Russia and stuff, which I don't understand what they're talking about. A lot of the game, I've tried to look up news. Are they going to update it anytime soon? Is anything going to be fixed? And nothing's been said. I actually contacted Piranha Bytes. Never a response from them at all. I contacted them email through technical and customer service, which took a minute to find, and I never could get a response from them. I just was asking, hey, are you going to update this and and make the combat a little bit smoother or a little bit, or what are you doing with the game? Because I'm a fan of Piranha Bytes' work. I have Arcania Gothic, I have Risen 2, and Risen 3 I bought on the 360, and then on this one, they remastered Risen 3. I bought it the day it came out because I really, am a fan of Risen 3. And it's just one of those things where I really wish that they had done the combat like that. I applaud them for trying to make a Souls experience, but that's not something that a company like Piranha Bytes should ever do, honestly, because I feel like they don't have that same level of finesse that's required to create a game of that caliber, and or at least the combat style of that, and that's what they've done here. Look at this. I mean, look, this little bitty nothing peon creature basically damn near killed me. One of the problems with this game too is the fact that yes, Dark Souls does this, but there you can roll out of it and stuff. This game, it's very difficult. Once you get hit by something, you basically get stun locked, and once you are hit by something, you're doomed. Like if you take a hit, especially from a stronger creature, you will get stun locked. Your character will just pause, and you have this long pause before you can actually recover. And by then, the creature's already attacked you a second time, a third time, and you're almost dead. That was a biter. That was a maybe a level 3 creature, and it didn't have like a young biter or runt biter, and it damn near killed me in 4 hits. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. If you're trying to create a Souls-like experience, you got to have a fairness that's there. And when you get stun locked in this game, you're basically doomed. Um, the enemies too have this weird range about them. They walk around slow, but when they attack, they do this hesitant like attack where they kind of like almost like it's a jab. And a lot of the enemies I've noticed in this game does this, where they kind of like attack you. I've been running, and you see where Duros is at, this character that's with me. I've literally gotten about this far ahead, and in the middle of the creature's animation, where I'm clearly out of their range, I'll still get hit, but never see the creature hit me, and that's a collision detection issue all the way around. That has to be fixed. Your combat, like you spend so much time in this game avoiding combat, and granted, you don't get a whole lot of experience from combat unless you fight like really big nasty creatures. I killed a raptor and got like 150 experience, which was great. But most of these little peon creatures are 5, 10, 15, 25, experience. And I spend a lot of time around in Gauntlet area because it's the only area I can actually kind of do some combat. Like, look, I just got attacked. That's another thing that bothers me about this game is the fact that, see what I mean? And another thing that bothers me, as you can just see here, because I'm using a shield, my stamina has changed. Like, I can usually, if I de-equip the shield, I can do the chainsword combo like every time, no problem. But with this one, it's different because he's changed his pattern of attacks. And that third attack's so fast, it's kind of hard to chain. You almost have to watch, and I'm really probably going to get rid of the shield. I find the shield to be just a hindrance more than anything. And yes, it does give you some protection when they attack you, but another problem is I've found in this game with the shield, again, them trying to emulate Dark Souls shield mechanic and failed miserably, is the fact that they I'm just getting rid of this. This is stupid. I do not like this. This shield mechanic is stupid. No, just get rid of that. And then unequip that. I hate that, man. It drives me nuts. Okay. Because the shield mechanic in this game, see, now that I've just got the, see how the combo's different? Look, every time. And, for them to change the pattern of the way you attack and the way it uses your stamina is with the shield, I get it, but I don't get it. It's like, why do that? But here's the whole thing is, like I was saying, it's like, they just try to do this combat like Dark Souls because it does have the R1, R2 kind of mechanic for light and heavy attacks, but to turn around, but they don't have the finesse as a company. They just don't. They don't have the pedigree for that, to do those refinements. From Software, took that engine and really worked it before Dark Souls came out, which is why it's a much beloved game, is because they had that time with Demon Souls and then spent time with Dark Souls and refining, and then they Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, and on Bloodborne and onward and upward. Piranha Bytes is trying, this is a new combat system for them. This is not the same type of combat system that's in Risen 3 or 2 or Arcania or Gothic or Risen 1 or any of that stuff. And to put that whole thing in perspective, they're trying to say, well, we want to do this Souls-like combat, so we got to make it where creatures are really, really difficult. I have come across areas in this game where I'll be like, oh, there's a creature, I know I can't fight him. And then I'll run 10 feet, oh, there's 3 raptors. I'll run 20 feet, oh, there's 4 rot boars, and then run over here, oh, there's 6 of these guys and 7 mobs. You're like, wow, all within a span of 100 feet. Why would you put that much knowing you can't fight any of it? And maybe as you progress in the game, this is a very slow grinding game. You have to spend a lot of time, just grinding it out and doing what you gotta do and grind it out and make it happen. Look at that. Every time. No problem with the combo. The shield just threw me all off. It's dumb. And that's what this game's about. It's like you're going to spend a ton of time doing the smallest, most mundane quest to get experience back in Goliath. Hopefully, they don't send you out into the world because you'll just spend most of your time running. Um, and that's what you do. And there's a lot of people in the town that need your help, but it's, you know, if you, let's say, want to join the clerics, for example, and you don't want to mess with the berserkers. I haven't joined a faction yet because I just haven't. Because the quest that to help you join the berserkers is ridiculous. It's stupid. You got to go to two different towns, the outlaw town and the cleric town, and steal some kind of or take some kind of document, and then he'll let you join. But you can't do that until you do a bunch of stuff for the town before he'll give you that quest. Um, this is where the cleric town is right here in a corner. Let me zoom in. Right here is where one of the places you'd have to go for that quest. Everything in this area will one shot you. It just will one shot you. You're dead. Like you're going to be running and running and running and running, and it's a long way away. Once you get here, right here in this little area, I know there's a teleporter, so you can just teleport back and forth. And that's what I spend a lot of time doing, trying to find teleporters. Like I got this base camp teleporter, I've got the Goylet teleporter, I've got the outlaw teleporter, there's one up in here somewhere I've seen. Um, yeah, but that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be fast traveling a lot once you get to those teleporters because it's a pain. It's a pain. And because of the way the combat is set up, and because the creatures, almost every medium-sized creature to big has some kind of ranged attack. They'll spit blood or acid or some shit at you, and it's got this ridiculous arc, incredible distance. I've been on top of a roof where a creature's been below, and he shouldn't have been able to shoot, but like his part of his whatever he spewed at me hit me and took me down to half health. I was like, really? And knocked me down and stunned me. I was like, I'm stunned. Are you kidding me? Like that's insane. Why am I stunned, from something that barely hit me, and why did it do so much damage? And it was just one of those things where, I know now Piranha Bytes was trying to create a Souls experience by having their combat the way it is, and you can tell that. They looked at Souls and was like, Souls has this weightiness to it, but you all's weapons and all that have no weight in this game. They don't feel weighty. What it is you got this disconnect because you also went back to the timing based combo, just like in Risen 3, except Risen 3's combat was very quick, and you could combo and roll out of the way really fast. This is a very slow roll. You could tell, oh, we want to try to do a Souls like game, but that doesn't work. That's just, it doesn't work for you guys because you've never done it before. You really should have spent more time, in the incubator. And I've seen videos where people say, well, just use your jetpack and just go to the water if you're overwhelmed, and because creatures won't follow you in the water. I'm like, okay, I get that, but there's no indicator. Hey, when you're in combat, use your jetpack. Always use your jetpack to get away. Get away, get away, get away, get away. I see people in their jetpack using their arrows and firing at creatures. But, I've found that range combat in this game with the first bow that you get, the cultivator bow, was pointless. You don't do hardly any damage to any of the medium-sized creatures with it. The aiming is not precise. Unless you devote to a bunch of dexterity and devote skills to ranged, it basically sucks. But, melee combat is much more of a focus in this game than range combat. Now, granted, maybe if I go to the clerics and I get a plasma rifle and I can just blast shit all day long, but you have a finite supply of ammo. Ammo costs a bunch in this game. So, if you want to buy, let's say, 100 arrows, you're spending, 10, shards per arrow, in some towns 5 shards, and you're just like, wow, I'm actually having to spend a ton of money, doing this. And I don't know, it's just one of those things where I feel like that you could tell that melee was more of a focus than anything. Almost everybody that you encounter in this game uses melee of some kind. They do have ranged weapons, but a lot of them don't, and so you're like, it's a very melee focused game. again, very similar to Dark Souls in that regard. Seems like everybody has weapons, even the peons in that game. But Piranha Bytes, you just did not, you don't possess the finesse, and since you've never done that before, to actually do a Souls game. I better save it. You should really, literally, if you haven't fought in a while, just save. Just save every few minutes. It auto saves right now every 3 minutes for me, and sometimes that's not good enough. Like there's a quick save function. There's 3 guys down there. This is in the first area. Those 3 guys, yeah, they will one-shot you. Even at my level with armored, you'll die. One of them has a rifle, kills you dead instantly. It doesn't matter what you have. Um, this area is poisonous. I can't go to it. Now I've got this creature that came out of left field. And the problem is too, if I don't know what level this creature is unless I actually physically go up to it and try to attack it and see what its name says. If it has a skull, like it didn't even show its name. It was a clumsy rotboard. Good. Now if it says clumsy, that means it's an easy creature. Or if it says runt, or if it says something particular to that. That's another thing too. There are areas on the map that are poisonous like that. The whole area is just flooded with poison. I don't know why it is. Sometimes it's a creature, sometimes you'll come to an area map that's irradiated. There's no way of knowing that. The map never tells you that. There's no legend for it. There's areas up in here, up around this area, in this area here, that's completely irradiated. You will die within a few seconds. Like, it's literally like, I think, a 10-15 second and then you're dead. And it's kind of like, I kept telling myself, like, the map does not show you that area is irradiated. And if you just happen to wander, let's say you go up there, you're wandering around, and you get stuck fighting something up there, or you get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm in this irradiated area, I got to get out of here, and you're a little far in, you're going to die. And so that's why I tell people, save constantly, because that's the problem. Like, the map does not tell you that area is irradiated. Like, you have no way of knowing that. It's like, just figure it out, guys. And if you die, then oh well, So here's this guy. It's a runt. I can kill it. It's only a runt. Duras will take short work of it anyway. So if he kills it, you'll still get the experience. By the way, yeah, even if he kills it. But I only got like 10 there, but I got some raw meat. But that's what I'm talking about. It's like these, again, like, go explore, but you really can't. Here's an open world, and you're pretty much screwed. Now, yeah, Two Worlds, one, had their world completely open from the get-go, but there was a zone you knew not to go, and the combat was much better than this. And because you knew, and you didn't have a stamina meter, so to speak. So I could sit here and run and do what I need to do to get where I need to go. And at least Two Worlds, you knew, oh, there's a giant freaking thing there. I'm not going to fight it. And it was usually slow and lumbering, and you could get away. So this game, creatures are fast. Like, even the big ones, even the trolls, they move really quick. They got this weird deceptiveness. You look at them, and they're walking around slow, but as soon as they kind of get on your radar, you're just like, okay, I'm dead. Like, they will chase the hell out of you. And the creatures will chase you until they essentially vanish from the game world. I've literally looked behind me, was far enough away, and saw them dematerialize. And I was like, really? Like, they just chase you indefinitely? And that's one of those oddball things. So, and I'm just really talking about ELEX because I wanted to talk about ELEX. I wanted to talk about, I wanted to talk about this game a little bit in my part 2, because there's not enough. Look, he just attacked me because I had my weapon out. See what I mean? Like, he just attacked me. I had my weapon out, and it just happened to be targeting him because, again, the targeting in this game is weird. You flick the stick left or right on the camera to target, and it was an accident, and he attacked me. It's like, okay, well, thanks for killing. You hit me. You didn't kill me. I'm shocked. That and his giant axe barely did any damage to me, which again doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but there you go. But that's all I'm saying about ELEX. You know, ELEX is a game that will try your patience. I love the game world. I love the story. I love the interesting characters that you meet. I love the fact that, yes, there are fetch quests, but a lot of the quests are interesting and unique for side quests. But I really dislike the combat. I really wish it was like Risen 3's combat. It needs to be kind of like Risen 3's combat. It needs to be better than this. And it's such a shame that Piranha went for, we're going to try to make a Dark Souls like experience, but like they didn't. They absolutely do not have the pedigree for that. And if I think an update or two would really help this game's, I guess you could say, chances. I think it would help if they could smooth out with a patch or an update, make the combat a little bit better, less how it is now. But I almost want to bet money that they don't. They don't fix it. Their Piranha is probably one of those companies that's up their ass and feels like that their game is like beautiful or flawless or whatever you want to call it, when I know damn well that it's not. You know, it's just not. It's got issues and it needs to be addressed. And I think if they don't address it, you know, it's going to be a turnoff to a lot of people because this game is deceptive. You want to get out there and explore this beautiful game world that they created, and yet it you don't, because it's just so damn difficult. You can't. You feel like you can't. You feel like you really can't get anywhere in this game at all, and you feel like your progress is so slow and so drawn out to get anywhere. And yes, I've seen videos where people are level 25. I mean, I watched a video last night of a guy who was, you know, 25 hours in, and he was showing you, hey, go here to get this ring that gives you like 2 different things for stamina and dex, and you get like, and get this. And I was like, and you can go here and get a free sword, you know, that does this, and you get this plasma rifle here. And it was in these areas that you would get slaughtered in one shot. You're just supposed to grab this stuff and go and try to figure it out, I guess you could say. And uh, I guess I don't have any. Um, they, you know, you get slaughtered, and you're just sitting here going like, okay, well, you know, that's fine and all, and you know where this stuff is at, but, you know, then you got to have the stats to use it. And he acts like, oh, you know, leveling up is so fast, you can gain like 20 or 30 levels. Like he was trying to say in this video, oh, in two hours, I was like level, you know, 25, I was level 26. I was like, no, you weren't. There's no way. There's no way you got in just 2 hours in this game. Even after doing almost every single quest in Goliath, I'm only level 7. So and that's a 4 or 5 hour stint. If you look at my save game, it shows 5 hours and 30 minutes. And I still have quests I got to do in here. So it's like, no, there's no way. That guy is full of crap. He must, I don't know. There's no way. And I got to learn some skills here real fast, folks. I've got melee weapons, and I got all this other stuff. There's parry strength and attack strength. Increase the power of your strikes at each level. I'm going to go ahead and spend it. I'm trying to get, you know, I'm trying to, excuse me, I'm suffering right now from a sinus infection. I'm just going to go ahead and give me that so I have better combat, better everything, just to give me some kind of slight maybe advantage. I'm going to save it here, and I'm going to jump off here, ladies and gentlemen. This has been my part 2 of ELEX. I want to tell you this about the game. Remember that what I was saying earlier. This game is a wonderful open world RPG, but it does have a lot of problems. One of those... Sorry, I'm blowing my nose, guys. It was running. One of the problems is Piranha really tried to do this Dark Souls-like combat with its difficulty, while a lot of the creatures in the game just kill you instantly, 1 or 2 shot you, and they just didn't have the finesse for it. And that's really, they should just never have even attempted that. They should have just either put in Arcania Gothic's type combat or Risen 3's, and not try to do a Souls-like combat, because they just don't have the pedigree as a company to actually pull that off. The other thing you're going to want, you know, that I'm going to tell you that's kind of a negative, And again, I'm not. This is not a review. I'm just my points, my thoughts and opinions. Um, as I've shown on the map earlier, I was talking about this area here that's irradiated, and you'll die within like 10, 15 seconds. The map doesn't show you those areas that are highly polluted with radiation or highly polluted with poison. They don't show you that. There's areas in the cold regions here that are just and you would think the game doesn't have any survival mechanics, but there's areas in the cold regions that's so cold you start taking damage. And again, you don't know what zone is what. You just have to trial and error. And which is a shame because sometimes these roads lead you right into those areas, and you have no way of knowing that. The map doesn't tell you that. It'd be nice if the map had like a little nuclear symbol or just a little area that's kind of shown in green. Oh, okay, so that area I probably need to avoid. They don't do that, and that's kind of a shame. And that's one of the other issues with that. And of course, with combat really is very flawed because they did try to, like I said before, they tried to they tried to do a Souls like combat, and they just didn't do it. They didn't do it right, especially when they kept their timing based combat um, from their previous series, but they slowed it all down, and so it feels very sluggish and very it just doesn't work. It's just something that could be excuse me. Like I said, I'm fighting a sinus infection. Um, it's something that they could have totally like. I wish they would just improve and do, and could probably fix maybe with a patch. But there's no word about a patch anytime soon. There's nothing about an update. They did one update. It was a 5 gig, and this was at launch day. It was a 5.6 gig update, which fixed bugs and issues and shadowing and stuff like that. The big positive is the game world. The game world is fantastic. The lighting is amazing. Like it's a really interesting game world. The characters are memorable, and Jax is a lot of people are harping on your main character because one, he's this unemotional, deadpan kind of delivery of a character, but that's his character. He was on ELEX forever, and it deadened his emotions. They're like Vulcans in a way, except imagine if the Vulcans were military, and that's exactly what he is. So when he talks, it's very, like, my name is Jax, and they try to do that monotone, emotionless thing for him, and it works, but it doesn't. Voice acting aside, again, the two main gripes is the lack of information when it comes to your map, like knowing if an area is this or that. Another thing that's, again, like if you see a creature and they have a skull next to their name, yeah, you definitely can't fight it. But other creatures that don't, you have to go by their name. So if it just says biter, which is a creature in the game, or critter, which is another type of creature in the game, if it says runt or young or something before their name, usually if it's runt or young, you pretty much could beat it because it's very low level. But if it just says critter, it's sort of a mid-tier creature, and it could be anywhere between levels 3 and 6, so you might be able to beat it. And the problem with the combat, as I said before, is the whole idea, once you get hit once, you're stun-locked, and not stun-locked for a second, it's a few seconds, and the creature will just wail on you, because, like, the creatures will walk around really slow, but when they attack, it's like this barrage of jittery kind of jabs where it's like it's kind of hard to time, like when you should dodge and when you shouldn't dodge. I went to the outlaw town. This is something you need to do. Take 1,000 shards and just buy a ring of stamina. It does give you a big boost in your stamina meter, so I can combo longer and run longer. You got to do that. It's really, really important to buy that right off the bat. And when I'm talking about this game one-shotting you and all that stuff, like I was saying earlier, I'm playing on the easiest settings. Like the easiest, where the creatures are more passive, you can change it, you got a lot of options. I'm playing on the easiest difficulty, and this game, everyone's talking about this. There's lots of stuff on Steam, lots of stuff on Reddit. People are talking about, like, why on the easiest difficulty setting is this game just brutal? And again, that was their idea of trying to, now here's this guy, here's this raptor I gotta deal with. You know, I had to dodge out of the way. It's a Skex or whatever you want to call it. Barely doing any damage with my chain sword, even with my upgraded skills. What I need to do is just get the heck out of dodge. I'm gonna take all this stuff here though first. You know, again, that's why you gotta have a companion. That companion will take the brunt of your dealing with creatures, you know, away. A lot of times the creature will focus on that. And you, if it wasn't for you having a companion, I would probably have been dead right there. If I run, if the creature follows us, this guard will help us kill it, obviously. See, he's going to help, and that's what you kind of want to do. Let him help you out, because he's actually pretty tough. Look at that, he's got a flaming sword, you know. Look, but I'm targeting the guard by accident, just because I'm trying to move the camera into position. That fire does a lot of damage to that. Okay, he's dead. But I don't think I got the experience for it because the guard killed it. If Duros would have killed it, I would have got the experience for it. So that kind of sucks. But this is the thing about ELEX is it's that whole, you know, I wish I could have stood my ground and fought the thing, but there's no way I could have. I had to run back to this little area and have them attack it. I better save. Again, always save after every combat in this game. I'm just telling you, you'll do yourself a favor. Save it after every time you battle. Because there's a lot of stuff in this game that you got to deal with. And I love this game, but I also dislike things about it. And that them just trying to create their version of an open world Dark Souls, you know, and it's not really so much Dark Souls, it's the combat they were trying to emulate, because that's such a popular thing, and I could tell that's what they were trying to do, but they did not nail it. It's bad, like it's terrible. Here's a case in point. Here's a creature here. Let me see what's going on with this creature. I'm gonna take this healing plant. Got to dodge out of the way. Dodge before it even attacks, because I knew it was gonna do this weird. Now where it says Spine Hound, so I know this is like a medium level creature, and I can kill it, but it took a lot of hits. And but if you ever see something that says spine, that's like a medium level creature. You don't even know their levels. You have to guess by their names, unless they have a skull next to their name. And if they have a skull next to their name, then that creature's really, really high level. Excuse me, folks, with that, like I said, I'm suffering from this sinus infection. This is really high level, and you're dealing with this crap, and you're like, this is like ridiculous. Like, you know, the combat, man, it just really pains me, because I don't know how many times I've got frustrated and had to. I'm going to tell you, there's been several times in this game where I had to reload and 5 or 6 times just to go back to previous save because of some stupid thing that happened. Again, you got to keep your auto save on to do it every 3 minutes. It's literally, if you don't want all those auto save files, just deal with it, because I'm telling you, it is not worth your time or effort to you just got to keep the autosave on, because it will save you a lot of trouble. And again, I don't mind, you know, I love the game world. I love the aesthetics of it, where I'm looking, it looks like kind of foresty, Skyrim-ish. You know, I even got a camera, like the up close over the shoulder cam, very similar to that game. And then you look over there, and there's like this dirt, these girders were power lines hung, and it's just this really cool contrast. The lighting in this game is incredible, especially if you're climbing up the ladder and you're going into outside. The light, it's very realistic. The lighting in this game and the shadowing is excellent. Sound design is decent, for sure. So look, there's these two guys here, and I don't know if they're mutants. I don't know what they are. You got this bird over here that looks like a dodo bird, and anytime I see anything like that, I just save it, because I know that if they remotely spot me, they're going to chase me forever. I don't know if I could even fight these guys. I don't know. Look, look, 2 guys there, 2 mutants. Okay, so these are mutants. There's no way I can fight them. Let's see here. And you don't know, again, I gotta pull out my weapon, see their skulls, so there's no way of fighting them. I'll die. So and there was a big giant troll over there, so I'm out of here. Sorry, Duras, you're just going to deal with it. Duras can be knocked out, but he can't die from enemy attacks, just to let you know. So I escaped out of here. I don't have a jackhammer to get that out of there. Um, I got out of there. Like, heck with that. They have, like, again, you don't know how powerful something is unless you pull your weapon and see what their name says. And they had skulls, so it was like, no, there's no way I could fight them. I've seen people fight in videos, and what few videos there are on YouTube, where they're level 20 and they're still getting one-shotted by creatures with a little skull icon. So again, it's like, and these are like little mutants and little alb soldiers and stuff. You're like, wow, really, you're level 20 and dying. So here's this thing, but this is probably a weak creature, I'm sure. It's just a standard level 3, level 4 critter, easily defeated. So again, that's fine, easily done, taken care of. But I think I just want you to know. Look, and then there's these two raptors just randomly. There's no way I can fight those two things, even with help. There's no way. I already know. I played the game long enough to know. I just fought some little peon creature. I walked every bit of 10, 15 feet. Oh, there's two just freaking giant raptors there. Oh, that's nice. Like, that's great. You just really. No, like that's ridiculous. Like, I'm not trying to fight that kind of stuff. And forget about trying to, like, sneak in this game, by the way. It's just pointless. Sneaking in this game is pointless. I can block with my weapon, but I rarely ever do. You just hope that you can kill these things. Again, he hit me all of twice and took a quarter of my health away. And then look at that. Look at that. See that? See that? Do you see just what happened? That raptor just walked around, wasn't on the radar, and hit me and basically two-shotted me. This is my whole point. You gotta fucking save constantly. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. He just walked around and went, dead. And it was like, I didn't even see it coming. No warning. No nothing. It's like, come on, man. Really? Like, you're just gonna do that? And then I gotta reload the damn game again. So let's say I was in the middle of getting some progress. Now I'm back here again. See, that's why I saved it. I'm like, no, I'm out. Screw that. And now I know that I'm in an area that's going to be really, like, look, and it's not even that far from the town. Look at this. So look at my map. Let's do this. I was going to end the video, but I want to keep talking about this. So here's the town of Goliath, and this is where I'm at. So even if you look at the grand scheme of things, there's a few miles here and there, but it's not that far. And I'm looking at fighting creatures like that. I'm just getting slaughtered, left and right. It's an outrage in a lot of ways, because again, I can't stress this enough. Piranha Bytes, you tried to create a combat system that emulates Dark Souls, and you don't have the pedigree to do that. But then you kept the timing-based combat system that you have in your Risen series. They're totally night and day. I cannot believe that you all did this. And when you were talking about this game in developer interviews, you never said once you were trying to do any kind of Souls experience. That's exactly what you were trying to do. That's exactly what you were trying to emulate. We'll put creatures in the game that are impossibly difficult. We're going to do this and that. No, that's not. No. You all should never have done that. You should have stuck to either Arcania's combat or Risen 3's combat. That's what you should have done. But you didn't. You want to jump on the Souls bandwagon. Well, you know what? You're a little too late. You're a little too late to do that. And that's the frustration. See, I sound frustrated because that's what happened. I'm fighting a little nothing creature, and then some raptor just walks around and two-shots me, dead. Like, oh, where the hell did he come from? And if it was those two that was way up here, I wasn't on the radar for them to see me. I just get killed instantly. When I was talking about lighting, by the way, look at this. This is amazing. Look at that. That, you can see a little bit of lens flaring going on. The lighting in this game is truly amazing. Like, I love it. It's very realistic. It's just really bright, and then you go from a dark area to a light area. It's really, really something else. I love that. The lighting system, the shadowing, the music is decent. The voice acting is at times okay. And I've had fun with the game, but what really holds this game back is its combat. The combat in this game, God bless it, Piranha Bytes. You tried, God love you. You're trying to, trying to do this Souls-like kind of combat, and you just, no, I can't stress it enough. You are not a company that should ever do that. You don't have the pedigree for it. You don't have, this game needed probably another month or two for finesse. I mean, especially with this timing, and you're going like, where like you have to almost watch your meter, watch that last hit. You have to get this perfect, or you're gonna get slaughtered. And then and then to have your character get stun locked, he gets one hit, boom, stun locked for 2-3 seconds, and then the creature's already hit you twice. There's this disconnect. Sometimes you'll get hit and don't see the hit, but then you're dead, and you're like, wait a minute, what just happened here? And I mean, it's just, it's such a shame because the game world is great. Like, I mean, this camera alone, it reminds me of the like Skyrim camera when you zoom way in. It's this beautiful game world. At night, in particular, one of the things I like about night, there's this giant moon in the sky, and there's another moon that encircles it, and they're you can see every crater, every detail. It's this beautiful looking world at night, and and so much of the world is, oh, I want to go here and I want to go there, but you can't. You will be running everywhere for your life. And again, a lot of the quest lines in this game, I mean, I'm talking in the first hour, or I mean, one of the earliest quests in this game, like I said in my first video, was you had to go solve this murder. But you're going all over the place, and this is where you go on the map. Let me zoom all the way out. You go to two areas here. See where my little cursor's there, and then you go to another place. There's 3 guys. They're all in this area, and it's pretty far from town, but not too bad. But then the next 2 guys are way up here. There's a guy here you got to talk to in this little area, and another one up here. And everything in this little area, so it's so close. I mean, it's just, you'll just die. Like you run and run and run and run and run, and you don't have like the resources to like buy anything like worth a damn armor at that point. And this is an early quest. Like, you get this right away. This is how you get Duras as your companion. It's like, wow, really? Like, what am I supposed to do? And the idea is the creatures give a whole lot of experience. Like, let's say you killed a little critter and he gave you like 200 experience. That would be great. Then you could just grind out some levels. But no, you can't. The creatures barely give you an experience unless it's a tough creature. And so you got to do quests. And when the quest lines are giving you are just crazy, like, sending you into areas that are like, there's no way you could win or defeat, and you're just running all the time. It's got that frustration level, guys. Like, if you're joining me just now, and my subscribers and my gaming roundtable, and thanks for joining me, I'm just telling you, I think ELEX is a good game. It's just hampered by a few things. You get these journals and stuff, all this stuff you should just sell. I mean, everything is, and that's another thing. It kind of reminds me of Fallout in that regards, where there's so much stuff you can just take, and I mean, there's cans and torches like that, and you'll find cups, and take everything and sell it. Everything is of value in this game, and you're gonna need the credits for that. Sometimes I'll go to the roofs, because sometimes you'll find stuff lying around these little old air units. I mean, everything that's not locked down, just take. As far as you could steal in this game too, but like you'll if you get caught, the guards will tell you to go to like Ragnar or whatever town, and you got to pay like some kind of fine, and the fine's usually about 200-300 shards, and 200-300 shards in this game is like way too steep of a price. Stealing is practically worthless. Okay, so here we go with this guy. Let's see what he does. See, boom, hit me. I was moving out of the way, but that weird. You see how he had that weird kind of like, I don't know, like a when he attacked, that jerky, kind of jab that he did. And I got hit, and I took a hit, and took basically a quarter of my life from a spine hound. I mean, it's like, wow, because when he attacked, there was that jerk motion, and it was really difficult to tell. Like, when I got hit there, like, I was like, what just happened? Like, he hit me, but you saw the frame of animation. It was like 1 frame. Like, how the hell am I supposed to, like, that's a tell, but how am I supposed to protect myself against that? There's no way I could do that. Like, there's no way I've been able to protect myself against a one frame animation, like, you know, attack, and that's exactly what that was. And again, that's another problem with this game, is the fact that that happens a lot. I'll eat some meat here to get some health back. Slowly, I'll probably take two of them to get it fully back. And again, save after every combat. You just got to do that. You know, I think ELEX is a good game, and I think there are things about it that's very, very like interesting and fascinating. The game world and all the stuff I've been saying, but it's just really hampered by its timing-based Souls-like combat, which those don't go hand in hand. They should never have done a timing based. They should never have done where you had some meter. They should never have done any of that. They should have just had it where you could just attack, as you know, at will, like most RPGs, and just go from there. It would make life so much easier. I feel like, you know, at some point your character will become very, very powerful, but it's going to take such a long amount of time to get there. So let me do this here. See, that way I could get out of the biter's range there, as you can see. Boom. You know, but I gotta wait for my stamina to recover, obviously. Come on. Still, again, 2 hits from a biter. It's like a level 3. I'm like level 7. You know, again, just ridiculous. When I loaded up the save before I made this video, I had like 20 something potions. Now I have 8. It's insane. Like, it's ridiculous that they do the damage that they do. And again, save after every combat. I've never had a game where I've saved like this, like non-stop. Now, granted, unlike, you know, if you know, like, you have a game like Skyrim, which is this amazing game too. But one of my problems with Skyrim is it's a pushover game. The game is easy as hell. Unless you put the difficulty way up at the beginning, on the normal standard difficulty, Skyrim is a pushover. It's an easy damn game. It's a beautiful game. It's a fun game. I love Skyrim. I've put 400 or 500 hours into the game, but I've always said that Skyrim was easy as pie. I felt that Dragon's Dogma, you know, was kind of a hard game until I played this one, if that tells you anything. And Dragon's Dogma, you know, has its systems in play, but God, it's at light years beyond what Piranha Bytes does in its combat. I'm talking light years beyond. There's no way Piranha Bytes could ever be able to compete with Dragon Dogma's combat. I mean, and in many ways, even though it's a little janky too, like Two Worlds 2's combat, like, again, I would much rather have that combat than this combat. And it's just because they did not know how to do this combat right. They just didn't know how to do it, and you could tell that they didn't know how to do it. They were completely at a loss. They were just like, we're trying to do this Souls combat. We've never done it before, and you could just tell. And it's just the stuff I've been saying. So, just in short, because I'm getting to like an hour-long video here, which is crazy. I do appreciate all 5 of y'all tuning in. Thank you. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I just want to talk a little bit about ELEX and my experience so far up to date. I will bring you some more ELEX gameplay as I get a little further ahead. I just want you to know that if you do buy this game, just know what you're getting into. Like, I really... When I bought it, I said, oh, cool, Piranha Bytes. They made Risen. I love Risen. They made Gothic. I love Gothic. They made Arcania. I love Arcania. I was like, well, they didn't make Arcania, but the people who made that, it's like a subsidiary of them. But anyway, I was going like, wow, you know, like, I was really expecting that to be that way. And then I got into the combat, and I was like, what are they trying to do here? And it just took me a few hours of playing this game to realize, holy shit, they're trying to do Dark Souls in an open world. Yeah, but they don't. No. Sorry, Piranha Bytes. You need to update the shit out of this game and fix your combat. You either make it faster, do something. I doubt that will ever happen. I just don't see that happening. Most developers nowadays, when their game comes out and it doesn't sell, they just abandon it, and I call it abandonware. You know, Asobo Games did that with Fuel on the 360 and PS3. Fuel was a really interesting driving game that was hampered by rubber banding and hampered by some other issues, and they basically abandoned it. They updated it once with the smallest little patch. I don't even know what it did, and they never bothered with the game again when they had every possibility to fix it. And this is one of those games I feel like Piranha Bytes is going to do. Piranha Bytes is going to. This game I don't think is selling really well because of some of the issues it's like I've been talking about with its combat and stuff. But I really feel like that ELEX's combat and them trying to do the Souls was the mistake, and that was a big problem with that. And people are going to be turned off by the systems that are in place. It takes so long to get a level and so long to get anywhere in this game because some of the weapons in this game require 60 strength. You only get 10 points a pop when you level up. Now think about that. That's 6 levels just to get it to there, and that takes a long time. It took me 4.5 hours, almost 5 hours to get to level 7. So it's like, wow. But then some weapons and armor also require Constitution and Dexterity for some reason, and then you got to build that up. It's this crazy system in play, guys. So when you're playing ELEX, just keep this in mind. Keep this in mind that you're going to get a combat system that they try to emulate Dark Souls. They failed miserably. I mean, complete failure on their part. But you're going to also get this beautiful open world. Even though there's not a whole lot of information on the map, like I said, there's areas that are poisonous and radiated, and they don't tell you that on the map. You'll have no way of knowing. It's just trial and error. But it's still a really fun game with a good lighting engine and a good amount of interesting locales and characters and cool weapons. Like I'm using a chainsaw sword, which is crazy. The Outlaws have some really unique weapons. There is crafting systems in play. Later on, you'll get this town that you have, and you end up taking it over, and you can put in all kinds of stuff. Like you can put people in charge, and it really has got some interesting systems that you'll get into later on. I've seen videos of where it's like, wow, this game is very deep and complex when it comes to that stuff. It's just really hampered by its combat systems, and it really is. It's just really hampered by that, and I really wish that they went a different route with it. Look at that lighting. That is beautiful, and I love that. Well, this has been episode 59, ELEX, my ELEX Part 2 video here. Please subscribe to my channel. Please hit the like button, and I'll be bringing back to you some more gameplay footage of ELEX real soon. I'm also going to be bringing you some gameplay of Knights of Azure 2, a little kind of by Gust Games and Koei Tecmo. I had the first one, and they came out with a sequel, and it's much improved over the first one. And I would like to bring you out some gameplay and some thoughts about that. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe to my channel. I am the Juice Man 3941. Sorry about being sick, and just wanted to tell you, gamers, I appreciate y'all tuning in. And as always, gamers, good gaming.